Okay, so we're here at the ThinLaunch booth at VMWorld 2008, and this is Michael Cardinal, and he's going to give us a little demo of what ThinLaunch exactly is. So Mike, tell us, what is ThinLaunch?
Thanks, Mike. ThinLaunch Software has a product called Thin Desktop. The idea behind it is we take an existing PC, a traditional PC, or a thin client, and we take it from more of a thick client, fat client type device, and we make it more like a thin client device. The way we do that is we lock the device down to a single executable. So I'll show you how we do that.
Great.
On this PC, I've made no changes to the hardware or to the operating system. What I have done is I've pre-installed Thin Desktop. It's a standard MSI installer. I won't bore you with how that looks. And what we do now, Thin Desktop is designed to take a command and launch it and monitor it upon Windows startup. What I'm going to do is change Thin Desktop from the current lockdown executable to a very basic executable to give you an idea of what this product does. So I've told Thin Desktop that the executable I'd like to launch is Notepad. So I'm going to log off from this PC. Thin Desktop will automatically log back in and launch and monitor the executable that we've described, and in this case, again, it's Notepad. So now that I've got Notepad up on the screen, you'll see the user interface has changed completely.
Yeah.
The standard Windows shell is gone and it's not accessible to the user. If I try to get out of this, not only we have launched it, but we now monitor the executable. That's how the product works.
Very nice.
If I'm somewhat sophisticated and say, okay, I'll do log off and see if I can get to the desktop, this is one of the processes that Thin Desktop user monitors, and it comes right back. So I'm an administrator, and obviously I need access, so I know enough to hold down the Shift key as I log off. This is the end of the line. There is no other way to get out of here. If I have a valid user, I can get out. If not, then Desktop will relaunch. I do have a valid user. I'll log in as that valid user. Now I have my full desktop back. So I have access not only to the OS, but all the drivers and all the things native to the OS that I would need to use, such as a print direct, that type of thing.
That's great.
Okay, now the next thing I want to do is I want to show you something that we do with Thin Desktop that's a little bit more usable. And because we're here at VMworld today, I am going to tell Thin Desktop that I no longer am interested in Notepad, but I am very interested in the client, the VDM client that I have loaded on this PC. So now Thin Desktop is going to be locked down to the VDI client. As this comes up, we're a Minnesota-based company, St. Paul, Minneapolis area, and you're going to see the server connection that we have back at our offices, and I'm going to connect to that server via my internet connection. It's acting as my network. I'm there already. So it's asking me for my credentials for my virtual desktop. So I'm going to identify myself with a bogus credential. You'll see that I am trying to authenticate and not able to. So if I don't fat finger this, I'll put in a valid credential. And now I'm authenticating with my user. No, I guess I didn't do it right. Let me try it one more time. I'm authenticating with my username and password to the domain, and I will now see the options for my virtual desktop.
This is how bad the network is at VMworld 2008.
It's been real intermittent. For the most part, we've been pretty happy with it, considering the number of vendors and connections.
Yeah.
So there's my pool. Okay, it's not working because I have not logged out of the previous session with my desktop.
Okay.
So my VDI instance back at the server hasn't logged out yet. But you get the idea. We lock down to a single executable.
Yeah.
Now I, as the administrator, have 100% control over the desktop. The user has 0, rather than the traditional way where the administrator has something less than 100%, the user has something more than 0%.
Right. So I mean, you showed the VDM client, which is great, but how about like an ICA client? same thing?
We're totally agnostic in terms of, as long as it's a 32-bit executable, we can lock down to ICA, RDP,
Great.
The VDM client, any of the third-party brokered clients. It doesn't matter to us, we can lock it down.
Excellent.
The same is true as if you have an industry-specific application and you want to lock down to that, say a customer service application, you got 60, 80 customer service reps, you want to lock down their device so that it can only run the application for customer service, same idea.
Okay.
And again, it works either on a traditional PC running a Microsoft operating system. It'll also work on a thin client with XP embedded, so we can lock those devices down as well. As long as we've got a Microsoft operating system and .NET framework, we're good to go.
Excellent. All right, so here's the big question. How much does it cost?
$20.
$20 per user?
Per concurrent user, $20.
Wow. All right. Well, hey, Mike, thank you very much. Again, this is Michael Cardinal with ThinLaunch, so thank you very much, man.
Thanks for coming by, Mike.
Thanks.
Appreciate it.